All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the daily paycheck. God, I'm again like barely awake over here. It's the coffee run, and by the way, it's Tuesday, which means if everything goes according to plan, a new episode of Casino Tears with Ed and 10 Ton should be dropping today. And here's the official Tuesday mug of this show. I'll use their mug to kind of give them some love every day. So, how y'all doing? I'm always in a better mood when I win in the morning, right? I do my daily paycheck show. I come out a winner, and I'm like, yeah, it's going to be a good day. So today, hopefully, is going to be one of those good days. Let's get into it here. I got a couple of things I want to really chat about today. Primarily going to get into some odds calculations. It's going to be another one of those math days here. So first and foremost, the Shooters Tournament round of 32 is on and hot. I think 6 or 7 people threw yesterday. If I'm not mistaken, I probably am. I think we've been through of the top 32. I think 17 or 18 have already gone. So we're over halfway through already. We're burning through this thing. I suspect a few more of us will go today and tonight, but we're doing good. I hosted 3 guys last night. I hosted Toothpick Ted, Alfredo, and G-Dub. Alfredo had I think a 27 roller, so he's firmly in second place. He's going to be through to the round of 16, which is awesome. Good for him. And again, George announced yesterday that he's going to do a strategist tournament sometime. Don't know when, but still trying to figure out what that means. I don't even know what it means. I think George is still trying to figure it out too. I think we all know what we kind of want to see, like who's the best strategist, but I can't define what strategist is. Is it the person who invented the strategy, the person who chose what strategy to play, or what? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and who gets credit for a win? If somebody plays somebody else's strategy and wins, who's the best strategist? The person who chose it or the person who created it? So I don't even know what that looks like yet. We do know that they're going to run probably all at the same time. So if we have a field of 32, we're going to run all 32 guys at the same time against the same set of rolls, sight unseen, of course, against rolls that have already been done. We'll probably do some level of rolls or shooters pulled out of the tournament, something like the shooters tournament, something like that. And then of course the 16, the 8, and the 4, same thing. So we're gonna kind of whittle it down that way with rolls that are fair to everybody. So getting 32 guys to play at the same time is gonna be hard, but we'll make it work. And again, it just comes down to what do we want to see? What do you want to see as the best? Yeah, David Peak's saying the best betters, right? I don't know that I feel like there's a best player category as well as a best strategist category. To me, there's two different. I draw the line on 2 different things there. I feel like there's 2 things. Like one person's concocted a great way, quote unquote, great way to play. One person figures out what way to play today and how to bob and weave. And I think it's 2 different people. You know what I'm saying? There's 2 different. Like I got a lot of great strategies. I'm not the best player out there in a tournament setting to go and bob and weave. Like that's other people are better at that than me. Does that make me a bad strategist? I don't know, right? I don't know. We'll see. We got a lot to talk about with that one. But I think I'm glad that we're talking about it. I'm glad that it's actually a thing to talk about. And again, it's just more fun content. To me, it's like more fun things to do, more things to root for. It'll be cool. All right, daily paycheck. I'll give you a recap here on that in a minute. But basically, we won again today. And we're winning. Yeah, for sure. No rebuys, Jen. This is going to be... It'll be 10 or whatever number of shooters out of the shooters tournament. We're gonna pick random rolls or random hands from the shooters tournament. How many we don't know, which ones we don't know, how it's gonna be selected we don't know. That's it. You're in and you're out. You either make it or you don't make it through, right? So that's no rebuys. There's just you're playing your strategy against the 10 shooters you're gonna get. That's it, or whatever the number is gonna be. I think that's what we've sort of settled on. We'll see. Anyway, daily paycheck's going okay. We'll talk more about the details there in a minute. And then after that, we're going to jump into some more math. And I'm going to talk about odds. And, pardon me, not so much strict odds, but we're going to look at the odds of winning a bet and how we calculate that. Because I think some people conflate odds and probabilities. And what I'm going to talk to you about is the odds or the probability that you'll win a bet in a more advanced game versus the probabilities of an outcome happening. There's 2 different things we talked about yesterday and today, so it's going to hopefully we're going to clear that up a little bit. All right, so let's get to it. Looking at the daily paycheck for the month of April, We're now up almost 2 grand. We did good. You can look at the numbers here. If I put my glasses on, I can zoom in and see that. We've won $5,300, right? We've had, you know, 6 or whatever great sessions and won, almost $1,000 every session, which is awesome. But the one poke, right? We talk about this a lot. This idea of going in big. You're going to win big quick, or you're going to lose big quick, and it's ripping off a Band-Aid every day. As far as making a paycheck, there's 2 ways to look at that to me, and I keep harping on the same ideas here. It's either you're going to grind it out and win. If I'm looking to win $1,000, I got to win $100 10 times, or $25, whatever, 40 times, right? It's hard to do that. Really hard to win small amounts very often. It's hard to do that at a table session, I think. So the bigger bets, getting in and getting out in 3 or 4 rolls, winning $500 twice, way easier, right? Now, that said, it's more soul crushing to lose. As you can see, we had 1 loss. It took a big, massive chunk of our winnings away. You got to kind of take that, right? This is the way the casinos make their money, right? We're not going to win all the time. So you got to outpace it. You got to be like we are here, 80% or more, 75% or more win rate to make it work if you're going to do it that way. Now, the paycheck methodology has always been a lot of little tiny wins stacked up, which I think at table session, on the table, I'd rather not fight to make a bunch of tiny wins. Over the course of time, I believe in fighting for smaller wins. Like, I know that it's kind of orthogonal thinking, but that's the way I look at it. Is like, let me get in, let me get out. You don't get up very often in a casino, so when you do, you have to roll, and that's kind of the thing. The amounts that we're betting are meaningful enough that makes sense. I think at small, tiny levels, it doesn't make sense. So anyway, there it is. What else? Let's talk about. Oh, here's the overall. So the overall, we're up 20K. Start with 10, up 20. Doing good. We're not to 100 yet. We're almost there. We're not almost there. We're getting to where we can bet bigger numbers there. We're getting to $5,000 buy-ins, which means the betting can be all black chip, all purple chip, Barney time. Let's build that bankroll. All right, I want to talk about odds. I really want to talk about the odds of winning. And I think this is going to be one of these topics where hopefully this adds a bit of a reality check to your life. And that's kind of what I want to get to. So, and before I do it, we'll remind ourselves of the gambling principles that I hold near and dear, and hopefully you do too, about setting goals, right? Knowing where you're headed, having a good strategy to account for your wins, right? The way that you play, accounting for how you're going to win, how much you're going to win, and your bankroll sustaining your loss because you're going to lose. And how much bankroll do you have? How will you use your bankroll to mitigate or come back or recover from losses? I think your mindset and your discipline are keys. I think walking away from a table with a small win or a small-ish, I don't really consider, to me, 20% to be a small amount of win. But being able to walk away when you're there is an important thing. Today's a good example, right? We won $1,000. I kept 9. I played with 1. Right? That's discipline. That's mindset. That's having a goal, reaching the goal, sticking to the goal, and maybe having a little bit of a run with something else, right? Didn't work today, but so what? We kept our goal. And that's an important thing. I think when you connect all that stuff together is what's a differentiator for me between the person who's going to go to the casino and basically donate more money than they should versus the person like us who's still going to donate money, but we're going to do a controlled donation. We're not going to go out there and just piss it away because we're not paying attention. And I think that's what I want you to do, is pay attention. So in session 3 here, we're going to talk about the odds of winning or not winning. And this is different than true odds, I suppose, right? The true odds that represent the outcome, right? We're looking at the odds of winning or losing a bet. What chance do you have of winning or losing? And it's different, again, than the probability of a thing happening. And we talked yesterday about probabilities of, there are 3 ways to roll a 4, 36 combinations. The probability of a 4 rolling is 3 out of 36, right? That's the probabilities that you calculate there. The odds, though, are different because we're looking at things like, can we roll a 4 before we roll a 7, which means that bet would pay. And there's a little bit of a nuance that I want to get into here. So reminder of this, right? The house always wins. The house always wins. They've got the edge on us. And one of the reasons why, reason number two, is odds, right? Most people don't understand odds properly. And I think once you get your head wrapped around what they are, it's the ratio of the unfavorable to the favorable outcomes. That's it. Okay. Unlike probability, this represents the likelihood of you winning a wager, right? Probability is the likelihood of an event happening. Okay. This is the likelihood that you win a bet. Sometimes it's the same, but in many cases it's different. I think knowing the difference there is a big deal, and understanding how it works doesn't make it so the house won't always win, but it'll make you, I think, more aware. I like to say, put your brain where your feet are, right? Be there in the moment. Okay. So the odds calculated like this: it's the total number of winning outcomes divided by the total number of winning and losing outcomes combined. So it's like, if you take a look at, we'll do an example here, but take a look at like the 4 versus the 7. There's 3 ways to roll a 4, 6 ways to roll a 7. That's 9 total ways to roll the dice that matter to you. That's that second factor there. So if the odds are 0, you never win. If the odds are 100, you always win. Right? We'd love to see 100% play, but there's no such animal out there, right? There's no such animal. A visual that I've always got for odds is this, and this is the way that a lot of math teachers, even in grade schools, teach it this way, right? It's a bag of marbles, right? Think about putting all the possible outcomes in a bag of marbles. And this is a great visual here. There's not enough marbles for us. Think about the game of craps. For the green marbles, let's say there's how many greens? There's only 5 greens, but pretend there's 6 green marbles in there, right? Let's say the greens represent your ways to lose, right? They're the 7s. Let's say that the 4 red marbles in there are the 5s, is a 5, rolling a 5. There's 4 ways to roll a 5. There's 6 ways to roll a 7, right? Pretend that there's 6 greens in there. And the blues are everything else. The blues are the 6s, the 8s, the field numbers, and all that junk, right? What is the chance that you reach into that bag and pull out a number that either takes your money, a green one, or that you win money on, the red one? This is what we're talking about, the odds of winning a wager. That's how craps work. That's how baccarat and blackjack sort of work, right? It's not just every card makes you a winner or a loser. Every roll of the dice does not make you a winner or a loser in craps. There are times where it's a blue one and nothing happens, right? What are the odds that you win the wager? Pull out a red marble instead of a green marble. That's what we're looking at today. That's how we're going to calculate things, okay? And in a single resolution bet, like roulette, the odds and probabilities are really the same, okay? Think about a roulette dozens bet. There's 12 ways to win that bet. There's 26 ways to lose that bet, okay? Your probability is 12 out of 38 or 31.5%. The odds of winning that bet are the same. It's 12 ways to win divided by the number of ways to win plus the number of ways to lose. So it's 12 divided by 36 or 38. It's the same. The odds of winning that bet are the same because every spin of the dice, you get an immediate resolution. But in other games, like craps is always the good example. The calculation is the same, but it's not as obvious the way this works, right? And for example, let's take a look at the 4. And it's a good one because everybody thinks that you've got a 50% chance to lose that bet. Okay? It's because there's 3 ways to roll a 4, 6 ways to roll a 7. And you think, well, I'm a 2-to-1 underdog, which is true. You are a 2-to-1 dog in that case, right? 3 ways to win, 6 ways to lose. The probability, by the way, of a 4 rolling is 3 ways out of 36, 8.5%, 8.3%. That's the probability of winning, of rolling a 4. The probability, though, of the 4 rolling before the 7, here's where it gets weird, right? 3 ways to win, 9 total outcomes. You have a 33% chance of having that bet win, not 50%. A lot of people think that you're a 2-to-1 dog, it's a 50%. It's not. You're not a 50% dog, you're a 33% dog. The way this works, or I'm sorry, a 66% dog, the way that it works. Okay. When you calculate it out, it's the number of good outcomes divided by the number of total outcomes that matter. Notice that I didn't put into that division the horn number is the 6, 8, 5, and 9. It's just the 4s and the 7s matter to us. So the chance of you pulling a 4 before a 7 is 33%. You got to know that. I think a lot of people get that number wrong. Right, a lot of people see it as you're a 2-to-1 underdog, and it's actually a little bit worse than that. It's a little bit worse than what you think it is. It's a 33% chance. That's the way you calculate. Now, blackjack and baccarat, these are much more complicated games, right? This is all about that. The odds of winning here are way different because the number of decks, the shoe count, all those things change the odds, right? Because the probability of completing a hand in all the different ways that it can happen with every card changes as cards are taken out of the shoe and played around the table and everything else, right? So unlike probability, where you only look at what it takes to complete our hand, when you calculate the odds of winning a hand in blackjack or baccarat, it's way more complicated because you got to consider all the ways that your hand can resolve for you or against you with a bust in blackjack, and all the ways that the dealer can resolve his hand at a win versus all your possibilities plus a loss. Right? Those games become insanely complicated. Luckily, there are people in the world like Michael Shackelford who's given us calculators that'll help you see some of this stuff. I'm going to show you here in a minute some good calculators that you can use to actually put some juice behind some of this stuff. So let's actually go over. I'm going to switch screens here, and I'm going to show you a couple of these calculators that I think will help you out in terms of if you want to calculate this stuff yourself, especially in baccarat and blackjack. I think it's very interesting the work that's been done to do this. Let me switch up the screens here and give me 1 second to do that. And let's see, we should be able to get to the browser. There we go. Okay, so the first one that I want to show you is this. The first calculator I want to show you is this here. This is the, not bracket. This one, where is the one I had before up? Hold on, it's not that one. Hang on a second, I got to find it here. I literally just had this thing up a second ago. I must have closed the window. Hold on. This is such a great odds calculator. I don't know why I would have closed the window. It is this one here, the OmniCal. This is great. This is so cool. This actually, you put in what I said. You put in the number of ways to win, chances for success. Let's take the 4, or let's take a 6. Right? There's 5 ways to roll a 6, right? But there's 11 ways or 6 ways to roll a 7. Okay, your odds of winning this bet ends up being 5 divided by 11. Your probability of winning a 6 versus a 7 is 45%, right? And again, the inverse is always true. 54% chance of losing. Look at the inside numbers, for example. The inside numbers, what do we have? We have 18 ways to roll a 4, 5, 9, or 10, right? 18 ways to win, again, 6 ways to lose. Your probability to win is 75% on the inside numbers. Even though you've got a 3-to-1 advantage, right? The number that you're looking at is 75% chance to win. And a cross bet goes to 24 ways to win, 6 ways to lose, 80% chance of winning in a cross bet. Again, you're 4-to-1 here, right? You're 4-to-1 favorite, 80% chance of winning. This thing actually is kind of cool because it actually gives you the money line, which is awesome. So when you put in a bet, like, let's go back to the 4. The 4 is a 3 ways to win and a 6 ways to lose. The money line on a 4, by the way, is 200, plus 200. This gives you a really good, if you're a sports bettor, this gives you a really good look at just how big of an underdog you really are, right? You're giving up 2-to-1, obviously, right? With a 33% chance to win. Think about that. You're giving up 2-to-1, right? With a 1/3% chance to win. That's an interesting thing. Anyway, this calculator is great. I'll put a link to this in the video description when the show is over today, so you have a copy of that. This article here, by the way, this is a WikiHow article on how to calculate odds. This is a great explanation of it. Really good. You should read that on your own time. But here's the interesting one. For baccarat, this is from, again, the Wizard of Odds site. He's got this baccarat calculator, which speaks to what I was saying before, which is here we go. Let's say you have a 6-deck shoe, right? And we have, I should refresh the screen here. We have a 6-deck shoe. We've pulled, let's say that so far we've played and we've pulled 14 tens and faces, and we've pulled out, I don't know, like 6 of the aces come out and whatever. Let's say there's 25s left, 24s left, and there's 15 5s left, right? As cards are being dealt, this is what's happening. Well, this actually will tell you, based on the number of decks and the card count that you've kept, how the probabilities change, how the combinations that you're going to see of banker winning versus player winning change. And the odds do change based on, if I let's put 10 face cards back in there again and recalculate it, you'll see that the odds down here change. And this will show you the odds of winning a player hand or a banker hand, how they change based on the thickness of the shoe. Okay. He's actually got a full card counting screen here, which says the effect of removing a number of cards out of the deck and what those cards are, and given a running count of face cards, low, high, whatever, how the EV changes for you versus core. So it's actually pretty interesting how it's not a lot. You're talking about tenths of a percentage here, but this calculator Wizard of Odds gives you a sense of that. And again, the math behind all this is insane because you've got to calculate every possibility of look at this, 49 trillion combinations of banker wins with this card count. You can never calculate that yourself, right? That's why luckily there's mathematicians out there like Michael that do things for us like this, which show it out pretty good. I think that's actually a really cool thing. He has the same thing for blackjack, where you calculate the edge and your probabilities of winning based on the rules, the number of decks, and that sort of thing. So again, he's got these great set of calculators up here on his site. I'll link to all this stuff for us there at the end. So just want to give you a sense of what that kind of looks like in real life. So I think it's actually, let's go back to here. Let's get the keynote back up. There we go. So yeah, calculating odds in blackjack and Bach is complicated. There's trillions of combinations to take care of when you take this into account. Luckily, when you play simple games like craps and roulette, you don't got to worry about that, right? The odds are actually a little easier to calculate as we go through. Multiple odds also confuse people. And so let's think about how we calculate multiple odds. What I mean by that is the odds of something happening again. In other words, we talk about the 4-10 flip, right? What does it take to roll 4 4s before a 7? You're beyond the fact that you're breaking probability. What does it really take, right? Here's an example of rolling 2 6s before a 7 or hitting a dozen twice, right? Like probabilities, the odds grow exponentially. So if there's a 5 out of 11 chance of rolling a 6 before a 7, that's your actual odds, right? Of winning. It's 5 out of 11 squared to beat the 7 twice, right? It's 5 out of 11 to the third power to beat it 3 times. So as an example here, to roll 5 6s before a 7. Now you should, the ratio of 6s to 7s is 5 to 6. To actually see that happen, to see 5 6s before the 7, it's about a 1.9% chance when you multiply it together. 5 out of 11 times 5 out of 11 times 5 out of 11, 5 times is a 1.9% chance of seeing 5 6s. When you see those miracle rolls that we get sometimes, I think I rolled like 11 6s one day out there before a 7. The miraculousness of that is the Barry Manilow special, right? That's a true blue miracle come true right there. It's so hard to pull that off. But you got to know this, right? How do you calculate that stuff out? And I'll give you another example here. Let me go to my other screen. Let me flick back to the hold on a second. Let's flick back to here. I'm going to minimize that and go to this. And if we did something like let's take, am I on white? The inside, or let's take it across bet. The across bet we know already, right? It's 24 ways to win versus 6 ways to lose, right? We know that's 80%, right? If you want a strategy that's actually, I should probably draw it a little bigger. Let's make that a little bit bigger. There you go. 24 ways to win versus 6 ways to lose. And we know that that is 80%. When I'm doing the Dallas drawdown, I need to do that twice, right? I need to win that bet 2 times. The first time has an 80%. The first hit, 80%. The second hit has also an 80% chance of succeeding, right? What is my probability of making that happen? It's 80% times 80%. 80% of 80%. And I'll pull a thing up here. 0.8 times 0.8 is 0.64. So it's 64% chance that I can pull that move off, right? Now this morning, I did that, right? And then I said, hey, you know what? Let's follow that up. Let's follow that up with the inside press and regress, right? So my third thing that I was going to try to do today was the inside, which was 18 versus 6. which we know is now 75% chance to win that one, right? 75%, right? So I had a 75% chance then to win an inside bet, and I had to do that twice. I'm looking for 4 hits, right? 80% times 80% times 75 times 75. What does that add up to? 0.8 times 0.8 times 0.75 times 0.75. I've got a 13% chance of winning that incredibly simple way to win, right? 2 outside hits, 2 inside hits. It's actually 13% chance. Isn't that brutal, folks? Did I do that right? Let's make sure I got the right. 0.8 times 0.8 times 0.75 times 0.75 is, 36%. My bad. 36%. I knew that was too low. 36% chance to make that happen. Okay? Which means 64% of the time I will fail. I'll get a big old fat F 64% of the time. Right? Brutal. Right? These things that seem easy to us, right? It's just 4 hits. Become incredibly hard to do when you factor in how to calculate it and how hard it is to get it done. 80% seems pretty good, right? 80% still seems pretty good. So does 75, so does 75, but the dwindling chance that that works out for you is pretty hard. Because remember this, I'm going to go back to another screen. Let me get rid of this and go. I'm going to go back to the marble screen. Let's get rid of that. Go here. We go. I gotta finagle my stuff around here to get it to work right. Where's my keynote? There it is. All right. Let's go here. So yeah, let's go back. I'm gonna go wind back here because remember this, when we're doing the inside or a cross bet, okay, and again, this is a great example of it. Again, there's 2 bettors, only 5 greens in there, but if you're trying to pull, let's say you're trying to pull a blue. Let's say that we're doing how many blues? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 11 blues. Let's say that, pretend this is an inside bet, right? There's the blues versus the greens, okay? When we pull an inside number, right, all the marbles go back in the bag. It isn't like you're pulling out a marble and it stays out of the bag, right? They all go back in again. The whole trial resets itself every time. And I think that's a thing people don't think about either. When you're looking at like, okay, I've beat the 7. I pulled a green, or I pulled a red, or I pulled a blue, and I beat the 7. Okay. You don't keep the marble. And now there's less blues in there and less reds in there, right? Making your odds of winning the next bet any different. It's still the same odds because you put the marble back in the bag, right? And remember that it isn't like it dwindles down. You're never getting closer to the 7 coming when you pull a red marble out because you put the red marble right back in the bag again, right? You don't get any closer to a 7 when you do this. And I think that's an important thing to realize. I wish I could animate this somehow to show it a little more clearly, but it doesn't work that way, right? We always put all the marbles back in. Every new roll is like shaking the bag and randomizing the marbles and picking a different one out. You always have the same chance to pull out your favorite color marble out of that bag. The thing is, doing it multiple times in a row becomes that exponentially harder thing to do to keep on winning. It isn't that it's harder to do because you've removed chances of winning. There's no fallacy here. The bag is always full. And I think that's the thing we have to always remember. And I know that it's difficult to remember. So there's your talk on multiplying odds. And again, we did it visually there with multiple bets as well. So I'll leave you with this on this topic here. And I said it a minute ago. The inverse is true, right? If you have a 43% chance to win, you got a 57% chance to lose. Don't forget that. Okay? It's nice to look at what's going to be great for us, but you have to remember to always look at the ugly side of things too, because the ugly side of things is where that's where your money goes bye-bye. And you better know how to calculate how often you can expect your money to go bye-bye. It's an important piece of this puzzle. So, all right, let's go back here to questions and answers. I'm gonna get your comments back on screen, and let's see what you got here. I'm gonna go through. Can you guys put Q's in front of things, please, so I can see your questions? 6 ways versus 6 ways is 50-50. That right, and that's where you get the 4. You're talking about 4 and 10. I'm talking about one or the other combined. But what you have there is you end up in the calculation on that, Waylon, is not, it's 50-50, but it ends up being 6 ways out of 12 outcomes, right? Then that's, again, the math on how people calculate that is important. It's 6 ways to win out of 12 outcomes. That's why it comes out at 50%, not 33%. Okay, that's the reason why that works. All right. Let's see. Let's see here. And we can put that in. I can put that into the calculator as well to show it to you how that works out. Let's see. Do a whammy of being the underdog for that 4th hit and the loss is, yeah, I hear you. I think you're talking about the calc I just did. It's super big, right, compared to what you're gonna win. And I think that's important to know, right? The odds of winning the bet versus the potential outcome is, you got to look at that. That's why that one calculator is so important to bookmark. And again, I will pick that. I'll put that in the thing for you. There you go. That's my thing. Justice Jen says Waylon's strategies are all hard to beat, hard to pick just one. Remember though, he needs bankroll to do it, right? If you don't have the bankroll to make that work for you, and again, the bag of marbles is the example. You're going to reach into that bag many more times playing the laddering systems. You got to have the bankroll to make that tenable. If you don't have the bankroll to make that work, it's going to be tough on you. So be careful there. That's the one thing I always, the caveat to that stuff is this: the math works. The math can play for you, but you got to have the bankroll to sustain it, because you're not always going to beat the 7 enough times in a row. It's all about doing it in a row. So, all right, I'm out of here, guys. I don't see any more questions or comments. Any PCs in here that I'm missing? What am I missing? Can I go back to the old roll tracker? It seems to work better. You're talking about the morning show? Yeah. You know what happened? It was the server. The server, it's not the code, it's the server that it runs on crashed. For whatever reason, the server crashed and it just died. I only pay like $4 a month for that server. So it's not high powered, and that's why it goes down. So it's a bummer. Let's see. Jen says this morning, yeah, good thing I made paycheck early. The rest of my rolls were rough. It proves my point. It is really hard. It's so hard, man. I mean, you get in, you get out, and you survive sometimes. I don't know. Yesterday we did good. Yesterday I made the drawdown work like 5 times yesterday, right? But I went for the extra ones. That's where you get bit. The extra rolls after the thing works was hard. So, let's do it, Waylon. He wants it. Before is 33 and 10 is 33% chance. How does the math work out? 6 chances, roll 7. Let's do it. Let's go back to the thing. I'm going to change my screen. Let me minimize all this stuff here. Let's go back to the thing I showed you. Let's put it right in here. The odds calculator. This thing, if you have 6 ways to win, which is the 4 and the 10 combined, and 6 ways to lose, which is the 7, you're 50-50. That's how that works. If it's 3 against 6, it's 33, right? Remember, it's the total number of ways to win divided by the total number of ways that affect you. So 6 out of 6. Now, again, the 6 has 5 ways to win, 6 ways to lose. The 5 and 9, 4 ways to win. You're a 60-40 underdog, right? And again, this is why true odds pay 3-2. This is where that money, which is where the math of those things come from. That's why it pays 3-2. If you look at your 4 and 10, this is why it pays you 2-1, right? Again, the math on this is it may be like you may be blowing your brains a little bit, right? But you get paid 2-1 on a winning bet. You have a 33% chance to win it, right? But the odds are 2-1. Right? It's 2-1 odds, but your odds of winning, probability to win, is 33%. That's how that works. Okay. And again, there's your money line. Okay, you can bet $50 on that, and your total potential net profit is $100. There you go. That is that's the talk. Hope that example there clears it up. Okay. If you're gonna like hop a number, for example, let's do a hopping example. Let's say you're going to hop the hard ways. Let's say you're going to bet the 12, right? The 12 has 1 way to win and 35 ways to lose. Well, not 35 ways to lose, right? There's your probability to win on the 12. You have a 97% chance that you're going to lose that bet. Now, again, in this instance, it's not a, the odds and probabilities are the same. But if you were going to do this in terms of a crapless table with one way to win it and 6 ways to lose it, see how that changes? You have a 14% chance to win that bet now versus hopping it. And this is also the reason why it pays the way that it pays, right? Almost, what is that, 5 to 1 basically, right? Whatever that is. That's why it pays the way that it pays on the table. They use this calculation here to give you your payment. This is your look at how likely you are to win the bet. So I hope that all makes sense. This is a great tool to kind of give you an insight into how some of those things work. I love this app for that reason alone. So, all right, let me get out of here. Let's go back over to me, and let's see. We'll put that screen on, and I will. Oh my gosh, go back to Keynote. There we go. Okay. Anything else y'all want to talk about? Anything else? Let's see. I don't see any more PCs. I don't see any more questions that I haven't gotten to yet. Skill says, no, we did talk Skill a couple weeks back about doing it every other week, and we haven't set on a date yet. So I think Jeff's trying to get a hold of you. So can you maybe text him? I think he's got the wrong number for you. So maybe do that. The best way to lay combined with a don't pass bet when it's all the same, right? Remember that it's all ends up being the same on these lay bets. And I think that's the thing to realize. If you lay the 4, right, you're going to lose that bet how many times? You already saw it. You're going to lose that bet to the 4 a third of the time, right? So 3 out of whatever times you're going to lose that bet. If it's the 5 or 9, it's 4 out of whatever times. If you lay the 5, you're going to lose 4 out of 6 times. If you lay the 4, you're going to lose 3 out of 6 times. There's no denying that. The problem is you got to lay the 4 for more than the 5. So if it loses 3 times and this loses 4 times, but for less, you lose the same amount of money. It doesn't matter. It really comes down to how often does that bet lose for you. And the 4 will lose on a lay bet less often than the 5. So if you're going to play a short game and make 3 don't pass bets the entire day, I would lay the 4 because you're going to face that beast less number of times. But over time, doesn't matter. You'll lose more money less often versus losing less money more often. It ends up being the same in the end on the lay bets. It's just about how you want to play that day is what that comes down to. Okay, PC from Dan. When you are talking about multiple bets to win in just one can be a disaster when one loss happens, how does that affect the decision? It's your risk appetite in that case, right? Again, think about what I said. You have to win. Let's go over here. To win $1,000 with $100 chips, right? You've got to win $100 10 times. Okay. So what are the odds of that happening? What are the probabilities that you can win 10 bets 100 times? Or $100 10 times. That means 10 net bets of beating the 7, because you could win 2, lose 1, win 3, lose 2, and kind of bounce around. In the end of a grind, you have to have won 10 more times than you lost to make that work. And the odds of everything happening, so let's say you lose the first bet, now you got to win 11. You lose the second bet, now you got to win 12. And those odds get increasingly hard to get to. Whereas winning one bet one time, your odds are more pure. It's a more one time and I'm out kind of a thing, right? There's that video that I put out where the guy, one of the best videos I've seen on this topic, where he talks about people playing roulette, and one guy puts $100 on black. Okay, one lady has $10,000 and bets $1 on black. Right? She never wins the $100. Right? Never wins the $100 by doing it that way, because you have to win so many bets. You can't get there. It's impossible to win. Even a guy with $1 trillion betting $1 at a time never wins $100. Whereas the other guy that just goes $100 on black has a 50-50 shot of getting it done. Basically a 50-50 shot, right? That is an eye-opening video. And again, I'll link to that for you again in case you missed it. That's a great video from a math guy. He explains it so well, and you go, that's the secret. like not the secret, but that's one of those eye openers. You go, you know what? That's why John is now going a $2,500 across. I'm not trying to go out there and grind out $50 50 times. I'm just not, right? To make a paycheck. You take that crack at it and you go, I can do this. I can do this. I'll take the loss, but I'd rather have that better chance to get it done than never getting it done, right? And this is why JB and other math guys tell me that I'm nuts for the paycheck style of play, where I'm doing that over days. I'm saying I'll take a tiny win. You know, I'll win $100 100 days in a row, and I'll get to 100K. They're like, you're never going to get there, because they know the truth. The truth of this is you cannot do that, right? What I'm doing in the paycheck, a 10%, 20% win every day forever versus the gigantic losses. It's like the lady who's trying to win $100, $1 at a time. You can't do it. And that's why they say, we'll sit back and we're eating our popcorn and we're going to watch John fail. Okay. John's going to get to $100,000. I will make that happen for two reasons. One is I have the benefit of excess play that helps boost some of the wins. Some of my wins are more than my goal, and I'm currently at a good win rate, right? So if I can maintain the win rate by playing ways that mitigate how often I have to face that bucket of marbles or that bag of marbles, right? And I'm winning more than I ought to in terms of the dollar amount, and I get a couple of bonus wins in there. That's the way that it gets done, right? Pure just percentages, it'll never work itself out. So there's your answer. I hope that makes sense, Dan. That's why the decision gets made in that way. So let's see. I don't know what Crapsy shows skill. I have to see it, but that's, again, you got to look. We can go to the table. Do I have time to do this? I don't have time. I remind me tomorrow. We can do more of this. But yeah, if you, again, I can do a really quick one. We'll go super quick, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. And again, this is, you got to look at it at this from this standpoint. Okay, if I lay the 10, let's lay the 10 for $60, and we'll lay the 9 for $40. 9 for 40 to win 20, or to win 30, 60 to win 30. Okay, they're the same reward for different levels of risk, right? This bet, $60 lay 10, and again, we'll take the VIGs out of it. The VIGs, for the sake of this discussion, we'll take the VIGs away, because they're the same VIG, so they cancel out, right? You're going to lose $60 how many times? You're going to get planked by the 4, right? 3 times. So you're going to lose 60 times 3, which is $180. You're going to lose the 180 guaranteed 3 times. Losing more a couple times. Now here you're going to win for 40, right? How many times will you lose the $40, right? 40 to, or I'm sorry, it's 40 to win. No, not 40 to win 20, John, you dumbass. It's 30 to win 20. Sorry, 30 to win 20. Geez, 30 to win 20. All right, or why am I such a dumbass? 45. Geez, 45. 45 to win 30. God. So you're gonna lose 45 4 times. How much is 45 4 times, everybody? It's 180. Okay, it's the same. Okay, you're gonna still lose 180 or 180. You're gonna lose this only 3 times. You lose this one 4 times. We're gonna, right? That's how that works out. I'm sorry. I got it asked backwards, but you know what I'm talking about. Why am I an idiot? See, it's too close to work, and I'm getting jacked up. Let me fix that. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's your loss rates. So you're gonna lose at 3 versus losing at 4. And think about this, right? Losing more money less often is the same as losing less money more often. In the end, it's the same. Okay. In your session, if I'm only ever going to make 3 don't pass bets this entire day, which one would you choose? I would choose this one. I would rather fight, right? My chances of getting hammered in only 3 chances, I'll take the less bullets at me, right? Take 3 shots at me instead of 4. I'll take that, right? In a short run, but in the long run, it don't matter. In the long run, those numbers are the exact same, right? Laying the bets, I think, and again, we all have to realize this. Laying the bets, the one that you choose does not matter. It's all about risk tolerance. All about risk tolerance. Matter of fact, you might say, if I'm just going to fight the don't pass one time, right? maybe you lay the 6 for $1.20, right? One time. If that's the only bet you're going to make, put the least amount of risk out here. Fight it once versus fighting the 4 for double the money, right? That's, again, you make that bet enough times, it's all a wash in the end. It's all a wash in the end. All right, I got to go. I'm late for work, guys. Let's get out of here. Let me go back over here and just say goodbye. There's the lights shining in my eyes back there. I'm